Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. Today's guest is Joy O'Neill. She is the director of the Red Barn. And for those of you that don't know what the Red Barn is, it is a therapy facility utilizing horses to treat autistic children and other adults and children with special needs. Is that correct?
And
Fair statement?
It is a whole range of disabilities as well.
Such as?
Such as CP, genetic disorders, adoption, molestation, foster care, amputations, traumatic brain injuries. So just a really wide range of disabilities and circumstances.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up in this field.
God has a very odd sense of humor at times.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
So when my husband and I were married, we had 3 children between us, and we struggled like a lot of blended families do. And then one day over spring break, we took our kids to a horseback ride. And what we realized is that our whole family was getting along, and that was an amazing peace and quiet moment. And we thought, we really want to spend more time at the barn together. And so we started that. And then our kids just took lessons at a local stable. And then one day I kind of fast forward and all the kids are grown, or they think they're grown. They're driving themselves at least. And so they don't really need me anymore. I had been a stay-home mom, just taking care of them. And
they need you.
They needed me, just not to drive them around and to fill up my days.
They never not need you.
That's very true. And so I was just kind of looking for something to do. And I had a great friend named Anita Cowart, and she and I just kind of talked about how great it would be if we were able to start an agency that worked with children that had special needs that couldn't really afford that opportunity to ride and work with horses on their own because of either income or their disability. And so I went back to school at UAB and got a master's in nonprofit administration and started the barn in 2012.
Wow. And it's been successful.
It has. It's been great. We see about 100 kids a week.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Every day?
Every day. Well, every week, yeah.
Monday through Friday?
Yeah, 100 kids a day, that'd be hard. Yeah.
No, Monday through Friday?
Monday through Sunday. We're open 7 days a week because, horses eat and poop.
Yeah.
7 days. So
Christmas and
New
Thanksgiving,
Year's,
they
Easter,
do not take off.
They don't take a break, so we're open 365.
Yes, someone gave my daughter a horse when she was born. She's in her 30s now, but I thought it was such a lovely gift until I figured out why they use the expression "eats like a horse."
Eats like a horse, that's right.
Yes.
And also the phrase, how do you make a small fortune in the horse business? You start with a large one. Right.
That's good.
Yeah, because a free horse is never free.
How does explain for us how the connection works with the individual who's seeking the therapy, and how does the horse respond, and does it take a specific type of horse or any horse, or are the horses trained to be a certain way? How does that work?
Sure. Okay. Well, I'll start with how it works with the student or the children and the adults that we serve, and it's physical, cognitively, and emotionally. So physically, the horse's gait mimics our own with the use of our pelvis and that bilateral repetitive motion of walking and the rotation and all of that stuff. It just strengthens your body, but your core, your legs, your hands, your arms, everything that you do, it is a full body workout when you ride. A lot of times people think that the horse is doing the work, but actually you have to do the work physically as well. So it helps children with physical disorders. Cognitively, it helps children because they're remembering directions, they're listening, they're paying attention, they're having to remember how to ride, remember the pattern, remember what they're going to do, remember their horse's name, remember the steps of grooming, just everything. So it's great for memory.
So they participate in saddling up and putting the bridle in?
Absolutely.
They do the whole thing?
The whole thing. No valet riding. And to the extent that the child is able to do that, right? Yeah. So we do help some. And then emotionally is probably one of the most overarching things that horses can do, and that is that they really help to build a connection with the child maybe who is shy or who's timid. If you think of someone that has been molested or where physical touch has been hard for them, physical contact with an animal can sometimes help to bridge that gap so that they feel loved and accepted. Again, just being surrounded by other people that are there to help you with our volunteers and our staff and the horses. It's a great community, and it's a great place to belong. So those are the three ways that the horses can help individuals with special needs and disabilities. And then the horses themselves do have to go through a very extensive training period to make sure that they are safe and sound, and that they have the right reactions and responses, and that they're able to tolerate the work that they do.
I was going to ask, where do you get your horses?
So
There's apparently a place somewhere that trains horses for this.
well, we do all that training in-house ourselves. So our staff takes care of that. And most of our
some
horses
surely are not suited.
Oh, no. So what they do is somebody may call us and say that they have a horse that they'd like to donate. And so one of the first questions that we have to ask is, is that horse going to be safe and sound? So safety is paramount importance, but it also has to be very sound. And by that, I mean it needs to be able to walk with an even gait and not be lame itself. That would be like putting someone in a wheelchair that had one wheel smaller than the other, or using a walker that was wobbly. So we want to make sure that the horse is, safe and has the right temperament, but that it also has the same steady gait, and that physically it's able to handle it. You mentioned that you had children, and so you've probably tried to carry them when they were toddlers, and they're like squirming all over your back and all of that kind of stuff. So, the horses have to be able to tolerate a lot, so they really need to be in almost better shape than even a competition horse.
Yeah. Hold that thought. I want to talk some more about that when we come back from break, okay? We'll take a short break. This is Our Issues Birmingham. We're talking about the Red Barn today with Joy O'Neill. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. I'm Tommy Spina. I'm speaking with Joy O'Neill of the Red Barn.
Hi.
Is that a fair way to say that?
Perfect. You did A+.
Having ridden horses and knowing the size of the creature, is there would you rather have a mare than or a gelding or a stallion? I mean, is there some delineation there as to what's most suited?
I would say not a stallion, but anything else is fair game. It's, the most important part is that they be tolerant of our students.
Any age requirement for the horse?
No. We really would want, the main thing is just that they're sound, and that they have the right disposition, and that they want to do the job, and that they love the job. Not just that they're willing to do it to kind of plod along, but that they wake up just like I do every morning, excited about getting to do their work and their job. So,
do you feel that the horse is aware of what it's doing?
Oh, absolutely.
To help the child?
Absolutely. Horses live in herds, just like people live in communities. And so they are very in tune to us and to our body language. And so that's one of the great things, I think, in our programs that we're able to do when we teach horseback riding lessons to children that otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity. And then we also have camps and classes that teach horsemanship. And then we also offer occupational therapy using a horse. And so, it's just a great way, and the horses know it. And we have a wide variety of sizes, little bitty ponies and great big, larger breed horses, warm blood horses, and they know it. They love it. They see those kids come in and their ears perk up, and they go to the window and they look outside, and
really?
they're excited. Yeah.
How many horses do you have?
17. That's a lot of poop to scoop every day, isn't it?
Yeah. I've got 2 dogs, and actually there's a company out there that's called Poop Be Gone.
Wow.
You might check that out.
I'll look for them. All right.
They'd be happy to come out and do that for you.
Okay.
But no, that would be a lot of work. And so financing this operation, does the child pay, the family of the child pay for your services?
Well, we ask that if the family is able to pay, that they pay a portion of the cost. It costs us about $225 to provide 1 hour of service. And so we ask if the family can contribute towards that they do so for $60. And then the remainder is made up through fundraising activities, donations, and grants and individual contributions.
What type of fundraising activities do you have
So,
that our audience might be
oh,
interested in
sure.
participating
Well,
in?
you can always make a donation. You can just text Red Barn to 44321 and send a donation right this minute.
And it'll go on your phone bill.
It'll go on, you just enter in it and it'll come.
44321.
44321, the word Red Barn.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one way you can make an immediate donation. We also just have individual donations that come in through the mail. So those can be mailed to 2722 Bailey Road, Leeds 35094.
Is that where the barn is?
That is exactly where we are. And it's a wonderful way. But I would say the most of our donations come from individual contributors. We are very lucky to be a recipient of the Tum Tum Tree Foundation's event, and so they fund a great portion of our spring.
Mr. Miller.
Yeah, so they fund a great portion of our spring term every year with their donation, and a large part of it also, comes from our family. When we first began the barn, we thought that it would be something that just we could sort of do ourselves, but as it's grown and grown, we've realized that we need more and more donations, and so that's something that we're actually working on.
I'm thinking to house. I mean, they're not just outside. They're in a barn, and they're allowed to go out in the pasture. How much land do you have out there?
We have 33 acres.
So they're not crowded.
They're not crowded.
Are the animals on a path when they're working with the children, or are they just out in a corral?
One of the great things about our program is it's all of the above. So we have several arenas that the children can ride in, and then we also have some trails on our property. And one group that I'm really excited about, when you mentioned about the funding, we recently received a grant from the American Legion Foundation, and in collaboration with an organization out in California that specializes in training for law enforcement officers, we were able with this donation to create a curriculum for law enforcement officers to come to work with horses, to learn a little bit more about nonverbal communication and how they might come across to a child that has a communication disorder. And then parallel with that, we have a curriculum and a social story written for children about law enforcement. And then we have the officers and the children come out to the barn together and work with the horses. And for children with communication disorders to be able to meet a real police officer or a first responder and get to know them in a safe environment where they feel comfortable is it's amazing. So we're really excited about that.
Well, Birmingham Police Department, for example, has an equestrian
They've been out to the barn.
Patrol.
Yeah.
And they have been out to the barn. So are you always looking for more horses? Or you need more horses?
It's kind of a fine line because we really only have the space for the 17 that we have. But, horses do get older and they retire. And when they're unable to physically do the work, and we have a great relationship with several different places that will rehome horses or allow them to retire there. And so it's kind of like you're always looking, but you may not have immediate space to be able to accept a horse.
I think horses get a bum rap. I think people think they're not smart.
Oh, they're brilliant. They are so smart.
Yeah. I know. Do you allow people that just want to go horseback riding to come out to your barn?
No, I wish we could. We get that question so often, but we have a very fixed schedule because if you think of it, we're trying to coordinate 100 students, 17 horses, 100 volunteers, all of our staff, everything else that has to go on. So it's a pretty tight schedule. So we only see the students that are enrolled in our program.
Hold on, we'll be back in a second.
Okay.
This is Our Issues Birmingham. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. I'm Tommy Spina, and we're talking about the Red Barn and the work it does with autistic kids and adults and other special needs people, among other things, as she tells us about the police force. What do you find to be the most rewarding about what you do, and are you able to engage other agencies in working with you in doing what you do?
Wow, that's a big question.
It is a long question, probably be objectionable in a courtroom as being compound.
Compound. Okay, well, I will do my best to start. I'm married to an attorney, so you know.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah, so
Is it Jim?
no, his name is Emmett.
Okay.
But so the biggest, like for me personally, the biggest rewarding thing is just that I feel, and maybe it's just turning 50 or like whatever it is, but I just feel like I have a purpose in my life,
Yeah.
you know, to get up and to use every single moment that has brought me to this place, to be able to use it and to make a lasting impact. And I think that if you talk to our volunteers or anyone else that's involved in the barn, there's just not any better feeling than that you're making a difference in the world. With, you know, every morning you wake up and you get to go do something that's changing a child's life or making it better. And, you know, when we very first started the barn back in 2012, we just did it out of gratitude that we had had the opportunity to offer horseback riding to our own children, and thought about those that wouldn't be able to do it otherwise, and just, you know, wanted to do that. And so for several years, that's what we did. And then in 2017, our first grandchild was born, and she was born with spina bifida. And so, you know, then all of a sudden we have a grandchild that has a special need. And so to be able to think that we have been able to help so many other children, and then to be on the receiving end of that, and to be able to see our own grandchild participate in our programs and see her
and the excitement
and the
in their
excitement,
eyes.
yes, and for her to see her learn to crawl, and to know that riding a horse had a chance to help that. I think that really brought, you know, my whole life maybe around full circle, to be able to see that and to know firsthand what that's like for our parents. You know, it's kind of, you feel it a little bit when you're able to do that with somebody else's child, but when the God kind of like works it all around full circle and it comes back around and you're able to see that and know it, it's amazing. And I hope that everybody is able to find something that gives them that chance.
Well, speaking of that, do you need volunteers?
We definitely need volunteers. We
absolutely. Y'all hear that?
We need
listen?
volunteers. Y'all come see us. Because, you know, what we do is expensive to provide, and volunteers allow us to be very efficient in that.
Do the volunteers, they don't actually ride the horse?
They do not ride the horses.
They might hold the horse by the bridle or walk alongside the horse.
Exactly. Yeah. So we save all of the rides that our horses have. We kind of have a pretty strict number because we don't want to overwork the horses. And so we save those specifically for the students. But volunteers help us clean stalls. They help us to be in the lessons, to lead the horse, to walk along the side of the child, to help us put on our fundraisers, to do administrative tasks. We have a junior board. We have just all sorts of things that volunteers do to help us make the barn run.
And if someone wanted to volunteer, how should they go about doing that?
They can email info@theredbarn.org, and we'll be for sure to send them the information, or they can go to our website, theredbarn.org, and there's a tab on there that'll tell them what to do.
Now, one of the things, and I use my wife as an example because she loves horses. She always wants to go horseback riding. My hips have decided that they can't get in that position anymore.
Okay.
Or they just stay there.
Okay, that's gotta hurt.
Yes, it does hurt a lot. So, but the horse, I'm talking about the horse.
The horse, okay.
I'm assuming there's a vet on staff, on call, nearby. They're well cared for and not overworked and not underfed. I mean,
no.
The thought of whipping a horse toward the finish line at the Kentucky Derby drives her crazy.
Yeah.
Tell us what you do for the horses, too.
Okay, so our horses receive the utmost, absolute best care.
It's a good gig for the horse.
It's a good gig for the horse, absolutely. So, you know, like I mentioned earlier, if our horses aren't sound and well cared for, then we don't have a program, because it's the horses that really do the work and make it happen. So our horses receive very regular vet care. We have amazing vets, Dr. Owen, Dr. Varga, Coosa Valley Equine, Dr. Hamrick. We just have
a great. To the barn.
They come to the barn, and so they take care of the vets.
Kind of hard to get them in the back seat.
That's right. Our farrier, Milton Reeder is absolutely amazing. He also comes to the barn every 6 weeks.
Some people don't know what a farrier is.
It's like a
The shoe,
manicurist
the shoe, the shoe guy.
for the horses. Yeah,
He's the shoe guy.
right. He trims their feet and makes sure that they're good. But our family's background was really in show horses is how we got started. And so, a show horse gets the very best of care. And so that's why, for us, a therapy horse is even more important than a show horse. And so they get the best of absolute care that any animal could receive.
Is there an organization nationwide of people that do what you do, that y'all exchange ideas and information about?
Absolutely. So we belong to a group called PATH, which is the Professional Association for Therapeutic Horsemanship. Our staff is trained through PATH, Natural Lifemanship. We work very closely with the Jace Foundation, Horseboy, CHA, just a whole lot of other methods.
Well, you're doing great work.
Well, thank you so much.
We're, as a community, most appreciative that you have going what you have going for those that are in need of that. And I hope you don't get a spike in numbers that overwhelms you.
I would love to be overwhelmed.
Okay.
Just bring it on. Overwhelm us.
This is Our Issues Birmingham. Thanks for being with us today. We'll see you next week.